My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? I know this webinar is done at a different time than we normally do, but we're marketers. We like testing. And because we have a global company and people from all around the world and clients from all around the world, we thought we would try that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon PST and just see what happens for fun. Either way, we're going to be starting soon. I also want to introduce you to Salo here. Salo heads up a lot of the marketing initiatives at NP Digital. Hey, Salo.
Hi, Neil. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, he's from Brazil. He has a Portuguese accent and one of the best marketers I've worked with in ages, especially when it comes to things like SEO and social media marketing. This guy continually experiments, does a ton of conversion optimization experiments for us on a regular basis. But I thought it would be fun to have him join on the webinar. He doesn't really have a ton of talking points, but I'll add him in every once in a while, and we'll just talk about marketing and SEO as we're going through the presentation. So let me first off start sharing my screen. All right, Saul, can you see my slides?
Yes, it's going through.
Awesome, perfect. So today we're going to be talking about search beyond search, the biggest opportunity in digital marketing. Most people think of search as just Google. There's more to it. We will be covering Google stuff as well. But yeah, I wanted to talk about just the overall landscape, how you need to adapt, and what are the big opportunities this year. So a little bit about me. My name is Neil Patel, co-founder of an ad agency called NP Digital, co-founded some software companies, helped a lot of big brands. The reason for this slide isn't really to brag. I don't think I'm the best marketer in the world or anything like that. It's more so to show you that the tactics, the strategies that I present on work. If they didn't, we wouldn't be able to work with these brands. NP Digital, we're all around the world now. I think we are getting close to 10 countries we're now in. I would say by the end of the year, we'll probably get close to 20. And we work with clients all around the world, helping them with their different marketing initiatives in different languages as well. Again, more quotes. This isn't to brag, it's more so to show you that the strategies and the tactics work. We also see and analyze a lot of data when it comes to search. Ubersuggest alone has over 30 billion keywords in its database, over 249 countries that we're looking after when it comes to data, 900 plus million domain profiles, right? It's just tons and tons of data for us to slice and dice to figure out trends on what's happening and where things are going. We, in essence, see both sides of marketing. We see it from the agency's end, right? We see it from the client's end, And we also see it from the platform's end. We work with the Googles and the Facebook. Sometimes we speak at their events and even do marketing initiatives with them or TikTok or whoever it may be. And marketing, the big trend is marketing is getting more crowded, more expensive, and you continually have more competition, websites regurgitating the same content. So it's like, how do you really stand out and do well so you can rank at the top? Because whatever content you create, there's a chance that someone else has a very similar piece of content. In other words, why should they rank you higher? Why should someone give your videos the view? Why should someone give your images the likes and the engagement it deserves when there's so many other people creating content, similar content? Now, to dive into that and why, there's a lot of different aspects that we're going to be talking about. But first aspect that we want to talk about is the need for search and search transformation. The search for anything in life is an ongoing human need, and it'll never stop. When you're a little baby, you're searching in your house, you're crawling around, you're looking for that speck on the ground, you're, searching for new things. My kids search for chocolate all the time. A little fun fact for you, 15% of all Google searches have never been searched before. But in essence, people are curious. Humans are naturally curious. We always have the desire to look for more and more and learn more and more. And that causes us to continually search. And because the world is ever evolving, or it's nonstop, it's always changing. That's why a lot of the searches on Google have never been searched before. And I know search engines aren't the hot topic. People are like, yeah, TikTok, yeah, Chat GPT. Well, search engines were valued more than 2 times as much as email and 5 times as much as online maps, more than 50 times as much from a social compared to social media. And this was an MIT study, and respondents were asked how much compensation would they need to give up for various digital services. In other words, they felt that search engines were the most valuable platform out there, even though it's not really the most talked about platform out there. So even though, everyone's talking about TikTok and ChatGPT and a lot of these other things that are going on, keep in mind the real value people feel online is with search engines. And when I say search engines, I'm not talking about just Google or Bing, any search engines out there, and I'll give you examples of that in a little bit. And with these search engines, when you as a user perform a search, what you'll find is the search transforms you. It changes you. You search for something, you find the answer, you're like, huh, I never knew about this. And then what happens? You then go and then run another search. And then as you're searching, Google and Bing and all these search engines are looking at patterns, and then they're also adapting as well. So it's both.
Hey,
You
Neil.
you're learning. Go ahead, Salo.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why that feature people also ask became so popular, because the moment you do a search and you have some information, maybe you immediately want to search for something else. And this is a part of your learning path, because the moment you have answer, you're immediately looking for something else.
Exactly. And this is from Google. This is an emotional journey that a buyer goes through or goes through when they're searching, right? Sometimes they're searching because of passion or exploration, or they're fuzzy and unclear on something, or they need more clarity, or they need more conviction, or they just want to buy something because it entertains them. And there's a lot of different stages, from awareness, interest, decisions, action, right? And what you'll find is 80% will purchase from brands that provide trustworthy information, and 63% won't buy from brands that provide irrelevant information. So it's not about just providing quote unquote good information, or, hey, we can't release false information. Is the content even good? If it sucks and it's irrelevant, even if it's accurate, people won't care, and it can actually hurt your reputation as well.
Yeah,
And
and
with
those ChatGPTers that are willing to create content that's crazy, just repeating queries and creating such a crazy amount of content, they need to pay attention on this status, because like irrelevant information during the customer journey can really hurt you.
Yep,
So all this content creation machine, it's a you need to be careful with that.
totally agree. And the same goes with search and what you're trying to put into search, right? So it's just like, if I say my head hurts, does your head hurt because someone hit your head? Or do you have a headache because you just need some medicine, or you have a headache because someone literally took a hammer and hit you? I hope neither of them happen. But the direction and the keywords you put can drastically impact what Google shows you, because it's all context, and they have to try to figure out what you're trying to say and what you really mean. Here's a great example of this. If you search for Amsterdam, are you searching for Amsterdam, the movie, show times for, let's say, the Broadway show, or places to eat, or places to visit? It all varies so much. Or news from Amsterdam, if you're just looking in Twitter, right? Search is everywhere, and the results are drastically different. And as users, we're learning to adapt what to expect based on where we're searching. And voice also changes extra context as well, right? Or it brings extra context, but it changes search. Voice commerce is massive. There's billions and billions of dollars. I think the last stat I saw was either in 30 something or 50 something billion dollars a year being spent on voice commerce right now in the United States, which is a massive amount of money. Either way, it's still small, and it's going to grow at a massive pace. And when I say it's small, not the dollar amount, but it's small in perspective when you put it against the overall commerce landscape, right? But when someone's looking for a nail, are they looking to get their nail repaired for their fingers, or go to a nail salon? Or are they looking for nails that get hammered into a house? Same goes with Apple. Are you looking for Apple the food, or are you looking for Apple the computer company? And voice and patterns and search engines are really looking at, hey, who's a searcher? What are they normally looking for? And can we use that to figure out what to show them next?
Yeah, and Neil, about this voice search, the other day, my son, 3 year old, uh, he used YouTube Kids. I'm sure that your sons also use it. And like something happened, and that intrigues me a lot. So he was using search, but of course he don't know how to write words. So he was using voice search. And you see, like all those companies increasingly their investments on voice search. There is a purpose. All the new generation is starting using search by voice. So you can imagine that generation years forward, how they will be using voice search much more than we do, because we start searching like using text type of searches, text queries. So a voice also brings you context. On your voice, you can feel if people are sad, if they're happy, and this you can compare voice search as a long tail, because you're adding up so many layers of context for the search engines, and that's why voice search, visual search will become more and more popular.
Yeah, and one other data point to consider is what we see is, and the data is showing, that a lot of young children are using voice search, and the reason being is they don't know how to type yet, so they're used to it with Siri and Alexa and all these other devices. Now the real question is what happens when they grow older. But the big trend for voice search, it looks like it's here to stay, and it's going to get more and more popular. And again, the big question really is 10 years from now, are they going to mainly buy and search with voice, or are they going to do it by typing in, or a combination of both? And with marketing, if you're trying to get rankings, whether it's on social media or SEO, or you're just trying to get more traffic from different platforms like email or advertising, what you'll find is it's harder to stand out. There's all these tools available that allows you to pretty much copy your competitors' marketing. And I'm not talking about copying just from the aspect that these tools give you insights on what your competition's doing, but I'm talking about copying as in people are actually releasing very, very similar content, and it's harder to stand out because everyone's blending in. The prime example of this is Where's Waldo? Back in the day, there was one Waldo in a picture of tons of other people, and you would have to find him. But these days, everyone looks like Waldo, and you got to be like, all right, what's the difference? And it's really hard to stand out from the crowd. But that doesn't mean that you can't stand out from the crowd, and we're going to show you how to do a little bit of that today as well. So the next section that we wanted to talk about was the hidden motivations of search. Look, this is one of my favorite quotes. Is from Eric Schmidt, the ex-Google CEO. Brands are the solution, not the problem. Brands are how you sort out the cesspool. And being able to lead and motivate people is probably one of the most valuable qualities a brand can have. And think about like Nike, American Express, Tesla, Reebok, Range Rover, Mercedes. These are all examples, Ferrari, of powerful brands that are able to lead and motivate. And people trust brands. They turn to brands. You want to end up building a brand over time so that way you're synonymous with the industry. For example, when people are like, they don't want to get a taxi now. Hey, just go grab an Uber. Hey, don't do a search on Google, just Google it. Same goes with shoes. If you look at the term Nike, Nike is more popular than the term shoes. That's a massive, undertaking that they did. And how they do it, they built an amazing product and they did it for so many years. When people are looking for shoes, Nike's not the only option, but a lot of people turn to them. And yes, they do more than shoes, but that's what they're known for. So you really want to focus on buying a brand, because if you look at all big corporations, majority of their sales come from people understanding and knowing the brand. It actually doesn't come from marketing and someone Googling a word. Yes, SEO is a channel and TikTok is a channel and, retail is a channel, but most people, most big companies, large, old, established ones, generate majority of the revenue because of their brand and their brand presence. And this is something that's really interesting. When you think about your brand and getting it out there, one of the best ways is content. But what most people do is they create content on their product and service, and that's really it. But that's not really the solution. If you want to build a brand and do really well, you need to expand your scope. Your content should be from all aspects: top of funnel, middle of funnel, related to your product, education, helping people when they're just in the curiosity stage and looking for information and just doing their research. So then that way, your content can support your audience and you can help build a community. So then that way you generate more sales and a bigger brand in the long run. This is one of my favorite charts. And the reason being is most people, when they're doing SEO, they use tools like Ahrefs, Ubersuggest, SEMrush, and so forth, so on. And that's fine. You can go after the bottom of the funnel, broad terms, very product specific terms. But look, if you want to do well, you need to capture the new searches that have never been searched before, the blue ones, the 15% of searches that are new. These aren't that competitive. They get a lot of traffic, maybe not all at once, but in the long tail, it adds up, right? It's 15% of the searches. So just think about it. That's 15% extra traffic you could be getting. And most people aren't leveraging it. You can find these keywords from things like Answer the Public. You can find them from things like Google Trends, looking at news and what's happening within your industry. And there's news sites for every industry. For example, you can Google SEO news and you'll see a list of SEO news websites or digital marketing news. And if there's SEO and digital marketing news sites, you can bet there's news sites for pretty much almost any industry out there.
And about this universe, worth mention that sometimes you just need to ask your audience about what they are searching for. And one of the most easiest way to do it is using the Answer the Public tool. It's a great tool. You use the modifiers. You have a variety of questions, but also you can use survey mode and send an email to your audience and ask them for something else. And when it comes to a content marketing strategy, at least 10% of your activities needs to be to search for something that is 100% new, and you start seeding new keywords on your strategy, trying to reach out one of those 50% that is a new search. And eventually, what we are seeing on our current customers is that we see a lot of new brand queries becoming popular and turning to one of the most profitable keywords because no one else is going over it. So this is such an important strategy for you to incorporate on your marketing.
Yep. The other thing is there's a content paradox. The more people that can learn about, whatever is you're selling or your industry without buying your product, the more people that buy it. That's how you end up building your brand. You give away tons and tons of goodwill like we're doing here or we do on our blog, and that helps you build a brand, and corporate and personal, and that helps you generate more sales in the long run. You can also only create great marketing if you have a really good understanding of all aspects of your industry, from the product to the competition to the market, and most importantly, the people who are the end customers. So you want to obsess about your customers. And it's what Jeff Bezos has said for so many years. Yes, he looks at the competition, but he more so obsesses about his customers, and he does what's best for them, because that's how you win in the long run. And that'll help you figure out, all right, how to market to them, create content, what channels you need to adapt to that they're going to be on. This all will help you do really well in the long run. Another interesting fact is, I don't know if you've ever tried this, but in an incognito browser, you can type in things like gun control. And there was a study, this is from DuckDuckGo, 87 people searched Google for gun control. And at the same time, from across the United States, they're all logged out in a private browsing mode, so like incognito. And they saw 19 domains ordered 31 different ways. In other words, search engines are trying to adapt to people. Also, platforms, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, etc., they're also trying to adapt based on what you are looking for. The big thing is you need context on the user, and you need to end up figuring out, all right, what does this person really like? So then that way they can adapt the results better to them. If you also want to delight people when they're searching, you have to follow the peak end rule. This is a really cool rule where it helps you delight your customers. So people typically remember you from two different things. One, the positive experience that they get from using your product or service, and also the end experience. So you want to make sure, because throughout your journey, people don't always have the best experience every single time. There's always ups and downs. Even if you buy an amazing new car, something can happen and it can break down, right? So that would be a low peak. Or if you're riding a bike, getting a bike and seeing it in the package is a really amazing positive peak. But then you start riding it as a little kid, you start falling down. That creates some negative peaks. But then you're able to ride it without training wheels, all on your own, and you're racing off. And that gives you a really amazing end peak, right? So you want to make sure there's a really positive peak closer to the beginning, and you want to make sure you end with a positive peak. So think about what you need to do to delight customers and make sure you do that, because positive emotions are the ones that really drive value, and that's what gets your brand across and more people thinking about you.
Yeah, and this is related to loyalty. And imagine that you're in the sales business and you're generating your first sale. Like everything else after this sale matters a lot, because this will create memories on your customer, and all those memories, they will turn into their feelings when they're considering buying that kind of service or product again. So creating memories, if you think like that, it's not that hard to find that, oh my god, this experience is not creating a good memory for my customer. So you need to touch base with your customer, with your team, and make them think through it, and like make them realize what are the touch points of my product, of my sales, that is not generating that really good emotion, and try to rethink that. And if you are able to redo that, you most likely have more positive peaks, and you create more positive emotions, and your loyalty will skyrocket.
Yep. So now let's go into multiple searches, answers, and impact. Here's interesting data. There's much more activity on networks than search engines, even though people find search engines more valuable. And if you look at media usage in an internet minute as of August 2021, I know this is a while ago, but still I couldn't get the latest report out there. People are spending more time on TikTok from an average minute than conducting Google searches, right? Search on Google is just number 5 on the list. Media usage in an internet minute is just crazy on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And the reason I say Instagram is when this was done, I don't know how popular Reels were, but they're quite popular now. So you're going to see some of those stats and some of those other channels really pick up. And if you actually look at the top most search queries on Google, most of them are brand names, which you can clearly see here. But what's funny is the 40% of the top queries are related to social platforms. 7 and 9 emphasize internationalization. and shopping terms appear after communication and weather. So it'll just give you an idea of what people find really important, because this is what they're searching for on a regular basis. Here's an interesting quote from one of Google's SVPs. He's pretty much saying when young people, Gen Z, are looking for a restaurant or a place to eat, they're not really turning to Google. Well, instead, what they're turning to is TikTok or Instagram, right? And Google put this out there. They know this is a threat for them. They got to adapt. So much so, they're starting to release things like web stories, which we'll talk about, which is their version of TikTok or Instagram Reels. And they even have YouTube Shorts as well. If you think that, hey, we're a big business or we're doing our marketing right and everything's fine and we'll be good in the long run, it's not always that case. There's a time and a life cycle for businesses. You have to think really far out, but businesses, most of them eventually end up dying and a new version ends up overtaking them. Great example of this is Netflix really crushed Blockbuster. And then you had YouTube's ad business was almost matching Netflix in revenue. And then for a moment, US teens were starting to choose Netflix for the first time. YouTube over Netflix for the first time ever. So people change. Conditions in this world change. Your marketing has to adapt. Your products and services do too. And if you don't adapt with them, you're going to end up losing. Steve Jobs says it the best. You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. You have to trust the data in the past that it's good, and if it's not, you should go evaluate it and make sure that it's accurate. And once you have connected the dots in the past, you got to trust what you're doing in the future and base it off of a lot of the past stuff that you've done and what's worked out for you and what hasn't. Right now, we're facing a big digital convenience in which everyone has just moved to the phone, not just the computer, but to the phone. And people are hooked onto it. Everything is becoming digital. Billboard ads, radio ads, everything is becoming digital. Billboard ads are, a lot of times, depending on the city you're in, they're digital and they rotate throughout the whole day. It's no longer just plastered on there with paint. They're just putting up new ads every 30 seconds or minute or 5 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it may be. And if you look at where people are spending their advertising dollars, it's not just mainly Google anymore. It's Google, it's social, it's Amazon, it's a lot of different places. And it's not one player has all the ad revenue anymore, because people have taken an omni-channel approach. And you have to with your marketing as well. A great example of this is when it came to the holiday season, 40% of shoppers go to Google when researching a purchase that they plan to make in store, and 89% agree that YouTube creators give them the best information about a product or brands. So people start researching in advance and are using all these platforms to figure out where they should purchase from and who they should buy from, even before they go and make that purchase. So super important that you're everywhere and you're not thinking about search as just Google, because all these platforms, or majority of them, have search, and you got to be omnipresent. As I mentioned earlier, web stories, this is Google's answer to quote unquote TikTok. It's not really doing well, but they have it. It shows you that they believe it's a threat. They're already also integrating these short form videos within their search results. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And why are they doing this? Do they want to? Well, they adapt to users. That's what users want. So they have no choice but to adapt to that as well. And you'll also find as they start making changes to search, whether it's with ChatGPT or Bard, or whether it's with Shorts, there's always 0 clicks, but don't be afraid of that. Google's Danny Sullivan ended up putting out a statement, I believe on Twitter. Every year they've been around, Google has driven more clicks to websites than the previous year. So even though there's 0 clicks and you have to worry about things like Bard or ChatGPT, don't worry about them too much, because it's not taking away SEO or anything like that. There's still tons of opportunity. And if you want an edge on your competition, make sure you add annotations to your ads and free listings. It's a great way to just generate more sales, like free by 12/24 or free returns, or reduced price. These are all examples of annotations that help you generate more conversions that people should be using, especially if they're leveraging Google as a platform. Another thing to keep in mind is consumer behaviors and opinions on social media content has changed over time. And people used to just believe, oh, no one goes to social media and buy. Well, they do. People strongly agree with things like have purchased a brand's product after watching it on a social media live stream, or prefer brand videos over static posts on social media, or are often followed around the internet with ads about products or brands that they browse based on social media. And this is all helping companies generate more sales. Social media is here to stay. It doesn't matter what age you're going after, there's revenue to be made from social media. Even YouTube, they have YouTube Kids. My kids are on YouTube Kids watching Cocomelon or Blippi or whatever the latest craze is, like Gabby's Dollhouse, right? And depending on the place that people are, or platform that people are using, there's ways to target them and there's money to be made, especially in the world of marketing. So now let's talk about dominating the search. One of the big things I've learned over the years is the brand, the larger you do. We run a lot of experiments with branding, but the bigger your brand, the more traffic you get, the more global brand recognition you'll have. You need to build up your brand. It's a great way to win in the long run. So these are some of the signals that Google, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok tell you. Like, oh, for Google, external links matter, and so do internal, and so do keywords. And YouTube will be like, yeah, engagement and watch time, and then them sticking on YouTube and watching more videos. Or with Instagram, certain post format types they prefer over others, and frequency and how many comments you get. And with Instagram or with TikTok, it's things like video likes and shares, and how many comments are posted within the first hour of something being live. And even when you look at LinkedIn, it's similar. Comments is what really makes something go viral, or punchy text based that are short form versus long paragraphs do better on LinkedIn. And with Facebook, right? They're looking at overall video engagement, and they prefer native video on Facebook versus you linking to a YouTube video. But if you want to succeed on these platforms, you can do the stuff here. You don't have to take a screenshot. This is all on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, or will be. Or you can do the stuff here. But this is all stuff that everyone knows. This is the stuff that is public. So what do you need to do to really succeed? So I want to give you something for each platform. With YouTube, it's the first 24 hours. If you send out an email blast in the first 24 hours and you push it really hard, and you do push notifications, email blasts, tell your mom and everyone to go watch your video, and if they engage, the first 24 hours determines if you're going to rank really high and do well, and that's what you got to push the hardest on YouTube. It's like the opposite of Google's algorithm. A video can rank really high for competitive keywords in 24, 48, 72 hours on YouTube. You just got to push really hard right when the video goes live. That's the key.
Yeah,
Now,
and
with
if you're a big brand, you can use a lot of different segments of your list to push and to see each one reacts better when you're delivering free content like a YouTube video. But if you're a startup or a small entrepreneur, you can start even with a small inner circle with your parents and close friends on your WhatsApp group. And whenever you publish a new video, you send them a message, and you see immediately they will start inviting more people to watch that useful content that you're releasing, and you see those graphs. And it's funny, we tested this, and we still test that, right, Neil? And it
yeah,
still work like a charm, and it's amazing to see that.
it really does. And then with LinkedIn, according to Omnicore Agency, less than 1% of LinkedIn users create and share content. So adding something's better than nothing, but that's not enough. We found within the first 4 hours of your post going live, you need engaging comments, not like, oh, great post, or like this, awesome. That doesn't do anything. Things that actually cause more conversation, like, oh, if your post was on like 7 tips to get more SEO traffic, oh, you actually missed these 2 other tips that are really easy and powerful. Check them out, and here they are, and try them, right? And like when you go into depth and say like, oh, try this link building tactic, and I've tried it, and here are the results, like stuff like that is what gets way more engagement, causes posts to go viral. With TikTok, funny enough, is they want comments as well. It doesn't have to be done in the first 4 hours or 24 hours. It's very similar to LinkedIn. And, I did a podcasting video or a TikTok video on how podcasting isn't that competitive, and it just did so well. And the reason it did well is people are like, no, podcasting is more competitive than blogging. I'm like, not really. There's less podcasts than blogs, but it still did well because of those comments. And people then had a debate. With Facebook, they want you to create long form content that keeps people on their platform, and ideally video content. So my video content that's over 5 minutes long generates an average of 268% more engagement than my short form content. It's not just with my page either. We analyzed over 939 company pages and found that their longer form content performed better by 81.39%. As for Instagram, according to EarthWeb, Instagram has seen a 17.6% decrease in users creating live content, and 80% of users prefer live content over reading a blog post. And according to Growthoid, live video is expected to grow by 15x from what it was or is in 2022. And to do well on Instagram, you can't just create live content. You need to do it multiple times a week, but your live content has to be amazing. If you're not bringing it all and people aren't getting value from your live content, you're not going to get the followers and the reach, and you're not going to do well in the long run. So make sure your long content or your live content is amazing on Instagram. With Google, it's brand queries. The more people searching for your brand, the higher it is you'll rank for all the other terms. So consider releasing free tools. It's one of the best ways to get way more brand queries. Ubersuggest gets way more brand queries than Neil Patel. So does Answer the Public. It's a great strategy and a hack that we've used for years now, and it keeps working. You can go to codecanyon.net to find free tools that are like $5, $10, $15 that you can just pop on your website and white label them and release them as free as your own. And if you want to keep winning, you also need to build a community. I've talked about a community a little bit here and there, but from collecting emails to doing email blasts to doing webinars, this is all super important, to engaging with people with reviews, word of mouth marketing. This is all what's going to really help you build an amazing community over time. And what you'll ultimately find as you're doing your marketing and building communities and leveraging all the different platforms for search and just content creation, look, people will continue to try new things. There's loyalty to be won over from a lot of these new platforms, and people, think that, oh, that's not the case. My audience is choosing my competition over me. They're not going to choose me over them, and there's no more customers to be had. And that's not true. If you look at even Amazon, one of the biggest websites, people are demanding more. Amazon's customer satisfaction rating has never been lower. Why? Because people always want more, and they get used to it because competition keeps adding more and more. That means you have the opportunity to win people over from your competition, just like they have the opportunity to win people over from your company as well. And the main drivers to get more loyalty is these 6 things here. Convenience. Can people get what they're looking for right when they want it? Like, can they click a button, or do they got to drive to a store to get what they're looking for? Or availability. Is it in stock? If it's not in stock, that kind of sucks. Or value. Value is one of the top 3 reasons cited for customers trying a new brand. This is according to McKinsey. What is the value they get after they pay? I'm not talking about the value from a price perspective. I'm talking about the value of the product. Are they getting more more than what they expected? If so, that's great. What about the quality? Does the quality of your products, your service, your brand match what they're used to? Or the price? Are they getting a good deal? People love deals. And what do other customers have to say? If customers are saying amazing things about your company, more people are likely to use it. And depending on the region you're targeting, the qualities that people are looking for are going to be different. For example, in South Korea, convenience is super important. In Brazil, not as much so. In Brazil, people are okay with not having availability as much as they may want, let's say, value or quality or purpose-driven, right? So you got to figure out what's important based on the region that you're going after, and that will allow you to figure out how to adapt to those people and generate the most sales. Look, at the end of the day, good marketing makes your company look great. Great marketing doesn't even look like marketing. So be so relevant and be so great that people can't ignore you and they don't even feel that you're marketing to them. So now let's get into some Q&A. You can also scan the QR code if you want to work with us and just have us help you with all your marketing efforts. You can scan that and we can help you out. So let's dive into some Q&A, Salo.
That's it. Thanks everybody to stick around, and we collected some questions from the chat while we're speaking here, and we'll be asking our backstage team Barbara, Igor, everybody else to put here. Keep the QR code on the screen for people to that want to reach out to us. Okay, so starting with Abby Young, this person asked you how to find new searches.
The way you find new searches is you can use tools like Answer the Public to see what's popular right now. Like it's literally updated on a daily basis of what people are typing in and that's pulling from Google Suggest. Or you can look at exploding topics, or you can just look at news sites within your industry to see what's hot right now. So for example, what's hot right now, like literally today, everyone's talking about banks globally, whether it's Silicon Valley Bank or First Republic, everyone's really talking about banks.
Yeah, and you, worth mentioning that keyword insights that TikTok just released, and you can use this website, this ads related, and use that to create your ads on TikTok. But you can explore that if you go to ads.tiktok.com. You'll find this keywords insights tool. You also will be having insights from what people are searching on other platforms such a social network like TikTok. All right. And there are a lot of questions, Neil, about creating a community the way you do. Because we know that you have created a lot of tools and people want to know why do you create those tools and how to use that to collect leads.
Yeah. So then check this out. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. So can you see my dashboard here?
Yes.
And let's see. I don't want to go over the subscribers. All right. So if you look here, you can see a chart of emails. I know it's loading, but it's how many emails that we're collecting. The biggest thing that I found that really helps build a community is A, being on all the social platforms, but B, this is more important, is collecting emails. So we'll collect emails from our tools like Answer the Public, Uber Suggest, and we just collect a lot of emails. Today's not over, but it'll go up. It's a Monday. So if I look at last 31 days, 1+ million subscribers is more than a million. It doesn't do like 1.1 here. Actually, there you go. So you have to hover over it. 1.196461, right? Average open rate is 41%. The point I'm getting at is emails, one of the best ways to grow your community. Collect emails, release free tools, collect emails within those tools, like having them register, letting them know that they need to opt in and agree to consent to get emails. That is what really builds community more than anything else. Because then anytime you have something new, you can just send out an email blast and notify everyone about it.
Yes, that's great. Thanks, Neil. And by the way, other person asked, Google's Search Console roll out this new feature. Is a experiment for most of the users now, but it's creating some talking on the community about the content ideas inside Google Search Console. Can you talk
Look,
more about?
yeah, it's all great. Look, Google's just trying to help you do your job better as a business owner or as a marketer. You should be using it. Some of their features aren't the best. Some of them are great. Some of them they remove, some they add over time. But you should definitely check it out because the more ideas you have, the better off you're going to end up doing. So why not leverage some of the ideas that they end up giving you?
Yeah, that's right. And Catherine Kimball asked, Neil, do you think that paid ads are imperative for success?
So I look at success as an omni-channel approach. You need paid ads, you need SEO, you need social media, you need email marketing, you need SMS. You got to take an omni-channel approach. Does it mean you should put all your budget in paid? No. Does it mean you should spend so much money on paid you're losing money because there's a certain point where it makes it hard to scale? You should try to run every single channel profitably for the long term. The reason I say long term is optimized for LTV, lifetime value of a customer, and not for what I'm making tomorrow.
That's great. And people are asking, what's your thoughts about keyword clustering?
Keyword clustering is great. Like all this kind of stuff from keyword clustering to, having these authoritative pages that are the end all be all and just go super in depth on a whole topic. Like all this stuff is really good. What I found though is when it comes to SEO, too many people worry about things like keyword clustering or link building instead of like really simple stuff. So like what works really well right now in SEO is just updating your old content. Google has too much content on almost anything. I'll give a great example of this. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen again and I can type in things like dog food. All right. If I type in the word dog food, there's 2.2 billion results. Or if I type in how tall is a basketball player, 74 million results. Like that's a lot of people. If I look at the search volume, it's 480. So 480 people in the United States are searching for how tall is a basketball player, but yet 74 million results. The point I'm getting at is there's so much content for any given search query, way more than searchers, because people only go to like page one. What are they going to go to? Page two? Maybe page three? So the majority of the traffic is coming from the first two pages. So what you need to do is update your old content that's updated and fresh continually ranks the best over time is from what we've seen. It's the same reason why Wikipedia just dominates the search results.
That's great. And talking about it, Neil, there is a lot of conversation happening about the Performance Max AI feature in Google optimization capabilities, mixing all types of text, images on your ad account. And there is a lot of questions here, and I will just try to sum them up and asking you if you can explore more about AI for ads.
AI for ads is amazing. Why not have their platforms optimized for you? See, what Google and all the platforms are trying to do is they're trying to make it the easiest possible way for you to scale up their advertising and make more money. They understand that the ads need to scale up profitably. So try out their new features that they continually release, especially when it comes to AI, because if it can help you generate more sales for the same amount of dollars, what are you going to do? You're going to scale up your Google ads. Who does that benefit? That benefits them as well because they'll make more money in the long run.
That's great. And final question. This is probably for enterprise audience. They're asking how to expand globally and what your approach to select countries.
So we look at countries based off of GDP and CPC data and search volume. This all tells us, all right, what's the potential in different markets. Then once we have a list of markets, because the more people spend money on Google Ads or CPC, depending on the industry, it tells us what is a great region. And we also look at population count. So when you take some of those data points, you'll figure out, all right, what regions have the search volume in my space and the GDP that we should go after first. Then we try to hire some local people to translate and transcribe. Transcribes is a very important word here. You can't just translate. It needs to be adapted to that local market because culturally, a lot of people are different. And then when you do that combined with having people on the ground promoting the brand, because you need the brand queries locally and people knowing about the business locally, you'll start noticing that you'll generate more revenue within that country. And that's how we expand. And we do it manually in a lot of regions right now. We need to add more.
That's great. People also asking about, okay, this is the last one, okay? People exciting about AI and related to content generation and how marketing can leverage that to be greater and things like that. But any expectations about Chat GPT 4?
ChatGPT is a great way to create content quicker, but it's a modern version of an article spinner. They're taking all the inputs, which is scraping the web, to come out with the output based on the inputs. And what you'll find is a lot of that information that they're scraping and gathering to create the content they're giving you is inaccurate. So what do you need to do? You need to use ChatGPT to give you a head start, and then you need to go out there and put in your own time and effort, your team's time to modify the content, make it right. So if it took you 2 hours to create content, any form, and ChatGPT can help you save an hour, why not use it? But it needs to be amazing. You need to have in the experience, the expertise, the authority, the trust. It's called double EAT, right? Eat with 2 E's. And when you do that, your content's much more likely to stand out and rank better and get the views and the shares in the long run.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully, we get all the time to answer all the questions, but time is short. Just want to give you the final words and for us to say goodbye, Neil.
Thank you guys for attending. I know it's a different time than normal. Funny enough, it didn't work for my team either, and that's why Salo and I were the only ones. Usually we have multiple people presenting. But Salo, thank you for taking the time. I know it's really late in your day because you guys are, what, 4 hours ahead now because of the time change?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
6 p.m. now.
It's 6 p.m. So yeah, so 4 hours ahead. Either way, really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for attending and taking the time. I know you guys all have busy days. If you guys need help with your marketing, check out our ad agency, NP Digital. Just stands for my name, Neil Patel Digital. Or you can just scan the QR code. Thank you very much. My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you.